Today is Sunday, 1st of June 2025, 6 a.m. Eastern Time. This science and technology update is brought to you by Preeti Capital, your trusted source for intelligent insights.
Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep today into a topic that has genuinely sent ripples through the scientific world, AlphaFold 2.
hmm
We've sifted through, well, quite a stack of sources, articles, research, notes to really get to the heart of what this breakthrough
And
is.
that's why it matters so much, yeah.
Exactly.
At its core, AlphaFold 2 is this incredible leap forward. It's using advanced artificial intelligence,
Right.
specifically in computational biology.
And the fundamental problem it tackles is one that's stumped scientists for decades, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Taking that linear sequence of amino acids, the basic chain that makes up a protein,
Yeah,
and predicting its complex three-dimensional shape.
exactly. And, why is that shape so critical? It's because a protein's function, everything it does inside a cell, basically is dictated by that precise 3D structure.
Like a tiny machine.
Precisely. Think of it like a complex molecular machine. The arrangement of every single part determines how it works. If you don't know the structure, you can't really understand the function.
So understanding that shape is absolutely fundamental for understanding biology, disease, developing medicines, everything.
Totally.
So our mission in this deep dive is to pull out the key insights from all these sources about AlphaFold 2's significance, how it actually pulls this off, and its enormous implications.
Giving you that essential shortcut.
Yeah, getting you well informed on this truly fascinating development.
Right.
So let's kick off with the basics then. Who actually built AlphaFold 2 and what is it in sort of simple terms?
Okay. So AlphaFold 2 was developed by DeepMind, the AI research lab.
DeepMind.
Yeah. And it's essentially a highly sophisticated AI system designed specifically to solve that protein folding problem we were just talking about.
Using AI, deep learning.
Exactly. It's built using deep learning and other, advanced machine learning techniques.
Right, harnessing AI for this big biological challenge. And just to hammer this home again, why has this protein folding thing been such a huge deal for so long? Why is knowing the 3D shape so vital?
Well, proteins are the primary actors in, gosh, virtually every process happening inside living things.
Everything.
They build tissues, they catalyze chemical reactions, they transmit signals, fight off invaders. I mean, the list is endless.
Okay.
And every single one of those jobs needs the protein to fold into a very, very specific shape. If it doesn't fold correctly,
Problems happen.
usually, yeah, it often can't do its job, or worse, it can actually cause problems itself.
Like we see with those misfolded proteins linked to diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Precisely. That's a key example.
Hmm.
So figuring out the shape is also crucial for understanding why things go wrong in disease.
Makes sense.
And for decades, predicting that structure just from the sequence of amino acids.
Yeah.
Well, it's been one of the grand challenges in biology. It's a massive, almost infinite search space of possible shapes.
Okay, but here's where the sources say things got, frankly, mind-blowing.
hmm
The accuracy AlphaFold 2 achieved. It wasn't just a step forward.
No, it was a leap, a huge leap. Its predictions were shown to be incredibly close to the shapes determined by experimental methods.
The really hard, slow ones.
Exactly. Methods that can take years and, millions of dollars, like X-ray crystallography or cryo-electron microscopy.
And this wasn't just DeepMind saying, look how great we are. This was tested externally, right?
No, absolutely. Rigorously tested and validated in what's basically the Olympics for protein structure prediction.
That's the CASP competition.
Yeah.
Critical Assessment of Protein Structure Prediction.
That's the one. Specifically CASP14 back in 2020. AlphaFold 2 achieved a median global distance test score, that's GDT, of 92.4.
92.4. And what does that number actually mean in practice?
Well, the GDT score measures how similar the predicted structure is to the true experimentally determined structure. Getting over 90, that basically means the predicted shape is, in most cases, structurally very, very similar to the real thing.
Okay.
It's a level of accuracy previously thought impossible for a purely computational method. People were stunned.
And the real game changer, looking at the sources, isn't just getting it right, it's getting it right so fast.
Yes, that's crucial. We're talking predictions in hours, sometimes even minutes.
For structures that used to take labs years.
Years and immense effort, immense resources to solve experimentally. That speed difference just completely changes the landscape of what's possible in biological research.
Okay, so the big question then, how does it actually do this? What's the the magic under the hood based on what the sources explain. We know deep learning.
Right. But the architecture itself is really innovative. It uses things like attention-based neural networks.
Attention-based. What does attention mean for an AI folding proteins?
Think of it like the AI learning to figure out which amino acids in that long sequence are most likely interacting with each other, even if they're far apart linearly.
Ah, so it's seeing potential connections across the chain to form the 3D structure.
Exactly. It learns to focus or pay attention to the key relationships that define the final fold. And it does this by processing just vast amounts of protein sequence data, learning these underlying patterns. But another really clever part is how it integrates evolutionary data.
Evolutionary data. How does looking at old proteins help predict a structure now?
It's actually fascinating. By looking at multiple sequence alignments, basically, comparing the sequences of related proteins across different species,
Okay.
the AI can infer which parts of the protein haven't changed much over evolution. Those conserved bits are likely critical for the structure or function.
Makes sense. They're important, so they stick around.
Right, and it can also see which amino acids tend to change together across evolutionary time if two residues always mutate in sync.
They're probably touching or interacting in the final 3D shape.
Exactly. It's a strong signal that they are physically close or interacting. This evolutionary context provides massive clues. It helps it predict really complex structures, even ones with multiple distinct parts called domains or tricky folds.
Wow. And this whole system was trained on
What?
huge databases of known protein structures.
Correct. It learned from all the sequence and structural data that had already been gathered painstakingly over decades by experimentalists, learning from existing knowledge to predict the unknown.
Okay, let's shift gears. Where does this capability go? The implications seem enormous. This isn't just staying in the computational biology lab anymore.
Oh, not at all. It's already transforming entire fields.
Yeah.
Take drug discovery, for instance.
Right.
Identifying potential drug targets often requires knowing their 3D structure.
Right.
AlphaFold 2 can provide that structure incredibly rapidly,
So it could cut down that early, often very slow phase of drug development.
potentially by years, yeah.
Yeah.
And once you have the structure,
Designing a drug to actually fit into it becomes much easier.
much more rational, much more efficient. It gives you crucial insights into how proteins interact with potential drug molecules, those protein-ligand interactions.
Okay, so drug discovery. What else? Biotechnology.
Absolutely. This enables researchers to start thinking about engineering proteins with specific tailor-made functions for applications in medicine, maybe new industrial enzymes, environmental cleanup.
Custom protein design?
Exactly. And for fundamental research, it's just opening doors left, right, and center. Scientists can now get structural insights into proteins involved in really complex biological pathways.
Things that were just too hard or too slow to study before.
Precisely. Proteins that maybe didn't crystallize well or were too large for other methods. Now you can get a very good predictive model quickly.
And you mentioned disease earlier.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. This helps there too.
Definitely. The sources really highlight its relevance for understanding diseases linked to protein misfolding. By providing accurate models of those proteins, it helps researchers understand why they misfold and maybe, just maybe, what could be done about it.
But it's not just human health either, is it?
Yeah.
I saw mentions of plant biology.
That's right. Contributions to understanding plant biology, which could help improve crop resilience to disease or climate change, or engineering enzymes for more sustainable industrial processes.
So it's really a tool that accelerates discovery across the entire spectrum of life sciences.
It really is a fundamental accelerator.
Now, something else the sources really emphasized was the impact on the scientific community itself. Critically, they say this doesn't replace the experimental methods.
No, not at all. And that's a key point. It's a powerful complement.
How so?
Well, it helps researchers validate or refine their experimental findings. Maybe an experiment gives a fuzzy picture. AlphaFold can provide a sharper model.
Okay.
And crucially, it helps guide where to focus those expensive, time-consuming experimental efforts. If you have a good prediction, you know where to look, what experiments to prioritize. It makes the whole scientific process more efficient and targeted.
Smarter research. And then there was the open access part. DeepMind and their collaborators made a huge move there.
That was absolutely critical for its impact. Releasing the AlphaFold 2 code as open source.
Meaning any researcher can use it.
Anyone can download it, run it, even build upon it. But maybe even more impactful was the creation of the AlphaFold protein structure database.
Right, in collaboration with EMBL-EB. What's in that?
It's a vast, publicly accessible catalog of predicted protein structures,
Mm.
millions of them, covering, almost every known protein sequence from humans to bacteria to plants,
Wow.
all freely available online.
That database alone must be democratizing access to this kind of information on a massive scale.
Completely. It lowers the barrier to entry enormously. Labs anywhere in the world, even without huge computational resources, can now access high-quality structural predictions.
Fostering collaboration, speeding things up everywhere.
Exactly. It's sparking innovation in ways we're probably just starting to fully appreciate.
So stepping back and looking at everything we've pulled from the sources,
Mm.
this deep dive really shows AlphaFold 2 is, well, it's a landmark achievement, isn't it?
Without a doubt, it's a powerful testament to what AI can do, how it can push the boundaries of fundamental human knowledge.
Transforming scientific research methods at a really basic level.
It truly is transforming how research is done in the life sciences, giving us tools that significantly speed up and broaden the scope of discovery right down to the building blocks of life.
It feels like it's genuinely propelling the entire field forward. Not an exaggeration.
No, I don't think it is.
Which leads us to a final thought. Something for you, the listener, to consider.
Right. With this incredible, unprecedented ability to predict protein structures so quickly and at such a massive scale, what previously impossible biological questions can scientists now finally begin to ask?
And potentially, finally answer. What doors have just been unlocked?